Hello, my name is Cynthia Briggs, and I am a Running Start student from Cle Elum Roslyn High School. I will have completed 2 years of Running Start here at Central Washington University after this last quarter. In the fall, I am attending the University of Washington and will major in biomedicine and plan to enter medical school after graduation. My project presentation is based on volunteer research I have undertaken with Dr. Stephen Hackenberger and fellow students. My archaeological lab tasks were varied but focused on organizing and studying the records and artifacts from the Sanders site. William Smith from CW excavated the site as a part of 2 summer field schools in the early 1970s. I have bolded the main points from my abstract for the reader. I primarily focused on feature identification and stratigraphic analysis. This all includes evidence of marrow extraction for deer and Ovis canadensis, or bighorn sheep, and human activity from about 5,000 years ago. James McLean gives the most recent summary of investigations of the Sanders site in his thesis that he completed in anthropology in 2017. After sharing background on the site occupations, I will introduce my research questions and methods. I will then show examples of records, maps, and photographs I have used, and the patterns I have discovered in stone and bone features. Lastly, I will share results and some ideas for future research. The site is located on the United States Army Yakima Training Center, which is near Ellensburg, Yakima, and the Columbia River. A photo of the site is in the upper left-hand corner. An airborne photo image from Google Earth shows the canyon setting of the site on Johnson Creek, lower left, where the excavation was dug. A 1972 photograph of excavations in process with a view south are in the upper right-hand. Example excavation sketches from the 1970s are in the lower right-hand corner. Calibrated radiocarbon dates in BC showing major occupation of the site during the Frenchman Springs phase, which is the highlighted section, between 2000 and 500 Cal BC, or 4,500 to about 2,500 years ago. Original stratigraphic profiles were drawn by CW students and Dr. Smith. Radiocarbon dates and years BP were obtained by Hackenberger and students. To date, 6 undergraduate research projects, which includes my own, and 4 MS theses have been completed using collection and data from the Sanders site. Here are my 3 major research questions and methods I used to try and answer each question. As you can read, my questions are the following. Can excavation notes and photographs be used to map feature locations? What type of features are identified in different strata? And finally, how are animal bones distributed with features, which includes the bones' types, sizes, and if they are burned or not? Here is a map of the units as they were excavated in Trench 1502 and Block 1504. Although I have worked on both excavation areas, this presentation will focus on Block 1504 because not only is it more complex, but also it has been documented better than Trench 1502. On the right is an example photo of an excavation in process without the unit level photo board. However, I can identify this as Feature 3, Unit 25, Levels 9 through 10, with context of other photos. On the right is Feature 1, which covers most of the southern end of Block 1504. This is found in Units 1 through 14. This feature, including larger artifacts and bone that were found within the feature, are well documented with photo boards. Here are examples of artifact concentrations. In both photos, the trowel is used as a north-facing arrow. On the left, within Feature 3, there is a stone and split long bone concentration in Unit 25, Level 10. On the right, a boulder and pit depression feature spanning Units 27, 28, and 44, although the level is unknown. Here are 2 examples on the right of how photos with labels were used to sketch the map of the distribution of stones as part of features. Upper left, the features of stone and bone swept clean at 100 centimeters in Unit 25. In the lower left corner, located in Unit 12, a large skull fragment of a bighorn was found in levels 13 and 14. There are 3 extensive features in Block 1504, most of which are located between levels 9 and 14. Feature 3 in the north contains bone fragments, shell fragments, and a hammer and anvil, and Feature 2 contains several grinding stones, anvils, and covels. Feature 1 in the south consists of a dense layer of stone, but also includes the bighorn skull fragment. 3 colors, yellow, pink, and red, are used to show the concentration of bone by weight in grams found in levels 9 through 14. The highest concentration mark with shading is unit 38, which is also in Feature 3. The histogram shows the weight of the bone by unit number. The X marks the 2 units with bone weight less than 30 grams in lower levels 14 through 18. The OV is where bighorn sheep bone has been found and identified. With this, we know that Feature 3 has the most bone, while Feature 2 has a moderate amount of bone. However, Feature 1 has the least bone, but contains bighorn sheep remains. Here I have mapped the percentage of the bone that is burned over the amount of bone that was shown in the previous slide. The burned bone percentage is represented by a stippling pattern. Anything less than 15% burned bone is not represented. However, 20 to 30% get a light stippling pattern, 30 to 50% get a moderate stippling pattern, and anything above 50% is shown with heavy stippling. What this tells us is that while Feature 3 has the most bone, it only has one unit, which is unit 29, that has anything more than 60% burned bone. Feature 2 includes the other anvil and less bones, but has the highest percentage of burned bone in 1504. Feature 1 has several units that have a 30 to 50% of burned bone, but the burned bone is more diffused within the feature. Here are my 3 major research questions and my conclusions for each question. Number 1. Feature identification was successful even with old-fashioned methods. Number 2. Bone with evidence of marrow extraction were found from deer and bighorn longbone. However, there has been no concrete evidence of any hearth areas. And finally, number 3. How are animal bones distributed with features? We now know that while most activity was 3,000 years ago, we have evidence that one feature may be 5,000 years old. Future student research can be focused on increasing the size of the faunal sample analysis. Sorting and separating bone from features with obvious concentrations will reveal more about processing and cooking animal meat and bone, especially bone marrow extraction. A special thanks to Professor Hackenberger for guiding this research project. Another thanks to Professor Lubitsky for support and guidance in zooarchaeology and animal bone identification. I especially need to express my gratitude to Noella Wyatt for daily direction, support, and companionship in the lab.